As part of our ongoing work at Dawn Commission, we recently produced a report titled Beyond Ethics, Animal Welfare as an Economic Game Changer in Southwest Nigeria. In a bid to strengthen the case for animal welfare from both ethical and economic perspectives, our team visited a major abattoir in Southwest Nigeria. The aim was not only to observe welfare conditions, but also to assess the economic inefficiencies and missed opportunities within the livestock system.
Ẹ káàárọ̀ mà. Káyọ̀dé Joseph. Ó ti tó bí 30 years tí mo ti wà nídìí iṣẹ́.
Àwọn oríṣiríṣi ìpele wo ló wà ní kí wọ́n máa sin ẹran?
Àwa Yorùbá ń bí báyìí, a sábà ní agbára láti sin ẹran dáadáa bí àwọn Haúsá. Torí ẹran tí a bá ń sìn bí a lè fi wé ta Haúsá. Torí ẹran Haúsá á cheap, ẹran tí a bá ń sìn bí wọn kì í sábà tà fún alápàtà. Àmọ́ nowadays nísìnyí gbogbo ẹ̀ náà ó ti papọ̀ mọ́ra wọn, àyíká Haúsá àti ìtànsìn bí gbogbo wọn ti já sí iye kankan náà torí lásìkò tá a wà ẹran wọn gan o. Ó dà sí ju wọ̀ ẹran tó bá kéré jù ó ní 1 million naira táwọn bá ní sí.
Kí ló dé tí wọ́n jẹ́ kí àwọn Yorùbá máa tọ̀ ta àwọn ẹran táwọn Yorùbá ń sìn bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe sọ tẹ́lẹ̀?
Wọ́n ti ń tà fún wọn nítorí ẹran tí wọ́n ní ìsìn gan. Wọ́n ti ń tà fún wọn tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ wọn ò wulẹ̀ tà fún ara àyàfà wọn tó bá fẹ́ ṣènáwó òun ni wọ́n máa ń tà fún.
So wọ́n ń ta ní ti pé a ní choice àbí?
Pé ẹran tí wọ́n jù jẹ́ kí wọ́n máa tà fáwọn Yorùbá náà báyìí.
Ẹ sọ nǹkan tẹ́lẹ̀ pé a lágbára láti sin ẹran bíi ti àwọn Haúsá. Kí ni ìdí?
Ṣẹ́rí àwọn Haúsá àwọn òkè ránjẹ́ fẹ́ràn wọ́n á máa dà wọ́n káàkiri. Àwọn Haúsá òkè ránjẹ́ fẹ́ràn wọ́n á máa dà wọ́n káàkiri gbogbogbò. Ó ní wọ́n máa ń pariwo nínú tẹ́lẹ̀ pé àwọn Fúlàní wọ́n da ẹran jẹ kókó ẹnìkan wọ́n ṣe gbá wọ́n ṣàwò àwọn òkè sábà wọn. Àmọ́ ẹran tí Yorùbá bá ń sìn kò sí ara ń jẹ fẹ́ràn yẹn ni. Ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ̀ lébi nǹkan tí èèyàn ra ń jẹ fún wé nǹkan tó ń jẹ kókó á yàtọ̀ síra wọn. Àwọn nǹkan tó fà á nìyẹn tí Yorùbá kì í sábà fẹ́ sin ẹran bí Haúsá ṣe ń sìn.
One of the biggest issues that our interviewee had, I told us, was the fact that Southwest farmers are not necessarily rearing cattle like those in the north. And as of now, even sourcing for those cattle is becoming more of a financial burden for them because the cost of feeding those cattle is really, really high. So I just think we should implore the Southwest government to take forage production very seriously. It's a big economic opportunity for them. If we take forage production seriously, we encourage farmers in the Southwest to rear cattle. They know that they have easy access to feed. That would forestall, sourcing cattle from the north for themselves.
Bí báwọn lẹ ṣe ń dá àwọn ẹran bẹ́ẹ̀ mo bọ̀ fi ṣe ṣó níbẹ̀ ṣe ń dá wọn mọ̀ ṣó níbẹ̀ ṣe ń track àwọn ẹran yẹn láti ilẹ̀ Haúsá àwọn ẹran wo lẹ̀ mú wá ṣó níbẹ̀ ṣe ń monitor wọn pé òkè ẹran báyìí ibi báyìí ni o ẹran báyìí o ibi báyìí ni o ẹran báyìí ibi báyìí ni o ẹran irú ẹran yìí sìn tí bá ní níbo lẹ ti mẹ́ràn yìí wá o.
Ẹran ilẹ̀ Haúsá lélẹ̀ ó ní bí a ṣe máa ń dá wọn mọ̀ tí wọ́n bá ti kó wọn dé ẹni tó bá ti ṣiṣẹ́ yàtọ̀ mọ̀ pé ilẹ̀ Haúsá ni ilé ẹran Ọ̀yọ́ ni mo ṣàlàyé fún ilé ẹ̀kún lé àwọn ẹran tí wọ́n máa ń pè lẹ́ran Ọ̀yọ́ àwọn ẹran yẹn àwọn òròkún òyì àwọn ni wọ́n máa ń burú gan ẹgbẹ́ tẹ́yìn bá da okùn sí wọn lọ́rùn wọn ó lé ọ̀tọ̀ débi pé
irú èlé tó lè wà lẹ́ẹ̀kan yẹn
àwọn ilé ẹran ilẹ̀ Haúsá ni wọn ó lé àti àwọn ẹran lẹ́sà àwọn ni wọ́n sábà máa ń rò á dẹ̀ ti dá wọn mọ̀ tí wọ́n bá ti kó wọn dé yẹn á ti dá wọn pé ilé ò kì í ṣe ẹran ilẹ̀ Haúsá ilé ẹran ilẹ̀ Haúsá ni.
So lẹ́yìn dídámọ̀ yẹn kò sí sí ọ̀nà ìdámọ̀ mìíràn tẹ́tún ní
ṣé tá a fi lè dá
wọn mọ̀ pé ok ẹran yìí ìlú báyìí ti wọ ẹran yìí bí a bí táàgì ni o bí a bí àwọn kan báyẹn
kò sí táàgì àmọ́ tí wọ́n bá tún pa wọ́n tán tí wọ́n bá pa wọ́n tán kéèyàn mọ̀ pé ẹran ẹ̀gẹ́ tó bá jẹ́ lẹ́ran tó bá ti rí a mọ̀ pé ẹran bí báyìí.
Bí experience ẹ̀yin fi máa mọ̀ pé irú èmi ti bá wá sí mi ló dá mọ̀ kò sí táàgì kò sí nǹkan tí mo fi dá mọ̀
báyìí. tó bá jẹ́ lẹ́ran a ti mọ̀ pé ẹran báyìí ẹran bí báyìí ẹran lẹ́sà ni.
When it comes to monitoring of the animals, especially when it regards animal welfare, it is not properly done. There are no standardized monitoring or tracking systems of the animals that we have, the animals that are brought in from the north down to the south. Most times, some of the cattle rearers depend on experience and visual cues to determine where the animal is from. So there is really no data to track what farm the animal is coming from, where the animal was produced, how the animal was transported from one point to another, especially from the north to the south. And that is a big problem when it comes to animal welfare. If you can't track, you don't know where your animals are coming from, you don't know what animals are coming from, what the animals have consumed before they even came. You don't even know how the transportation was done. You need to take that serious. And that's why in the document we wrote, we spoke about the SWIFT approach, where letter W in the word SWIFT stands for welfare, enforcement, and monitoring. We implore the Southwest government to take welfare enforcement and monitoring more seriously. Different methods can be used. We expect that we can be able to track animals that are being transported from the north to the south. We spoke about the use of RFID tags, that's radio frequency identification tags. This will help us to monitor where the animals are coming from, biosecurity protocols, how the animals are transported. That will help improve the welfare of the animals of the region.
Tẹ́ bá wá gbọ́n ẹ̀rìn ẹ̀dí báwo lẹ ṣe máa ń ṣe gbogbo àwọn pípa báwo lẹ kàn tí ẹ bá wọn describe ẹ̀ kàn lè ṣàlàyé ẹ̀ fún mi.
Àti ní àwọn tí wọ́n bá wa pa tí wọ́n bá ti dá mọ́lẹ̀ lórí odò wọ́n á kọ́kọ́ yọ orí kúrò ńbẹ̀.
Báwo ṣe ń yọ orí yẹn?
Àdá náà ni wọ́n á fi yọ.
Wọ́n á gbélé bẹ́ẹ̀ ni.
tí wọ́n bá ti padà sá àwọn tẹ́ pé wọ́n ti perfect iṣẹ́ wọ́n á yọ kúrò ńbẹ̀. tí wọ́n bá ti yọ kúrò wọ́n á yọ awọ náà kúrò. tí wọ́n bá ti yọ awọ kúrò wọ́n á yọ ìfúnnú ẹ̀ kúrò. wọ́n wá la apá àti ìtàn wọ́n á láwọn.
Kẹ́ tó pẹran tó sì máa wà láàyè kẹ́ tó pa kẹ́ tó fàdà ṣá.
síbi ilẹ̀ yìí náà ti rí á wà láyà ṣé tá a bá fàdà ṣá tá a bá ti pa wọ́n tán.
Ok ẹ jẹ́ n sọ báyìí sọmọ kẹ́tẹ́ fẹ́ pẹran sí ó ní àwọn standard tèmi fi pé wọ́n fi máa ń pẹran bọ̀ kì í ṣe gbogbo ala máa ń ṣe ní Nàìjíríà ẹ̀ normally tẹ́yìn wà fẹ́ pẹran dáadáa wà stone ẹran ẹ̀ wà yẹ kẹrin ẹ̀ ti wà unconscious kó tó gbọ́ ọbẹ̀ lè so kò ní fíìlì ọbẹ̀ tó gbélé yẹn àti àbádà tó gbélé yẹn bọ̀ ẹ̀yin ò kì í ṣerú ẹ̀ bí ìbàyàbí kò ń ṣàkó wọ́pọ̀ bí.
Ọlọ́mọ dá wà láàmú ẹ mọ̀ pé ẹni tí wọ́n fẹ́ pa náà kò ní fara balẹ̀.
In my opinion, I do think that most of the abattoir workers, there's a general lack of knowledge on what the proper slaughtering process entails. And when it comes to animal welfare and even the meat quality, stunning of the animals before they are killed is extremely important. And what he described, there is no stunning process involved before the animals are killed. And this is where the problem lies. If the animals are not stunned before they are killed, they go through extreme levels of stress before they get killed. Now that affects the quality of the meat. That's when we have things like PSC meat, that's pale, soft, and exudative meat. And we have DFD meat, that's dark, firm, and dry. Dark, firm, and dry meat occurs when there's extreme stress to the animal just before it is slaughtered. And that's why some of the meat we consume, sometimes we realize that it's dark, it's firm, it's too dry. This can be traced back to how improper the slaughtering process was before the animal was killed. So I would implore abattoir workers generally and everyone involved in the animal production value chain to ensure proper stunning of animals before the animals are slaughtered.
Mo ti ṣe ẹ wá láwọn bí àwọn government agency ni o àwọn tó ń monitor ìṣọwọ́ pẹran bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń tẹran bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń ṣoríṣiríṣi àwọn bí amòfin tó wá ń wò pé òkè àwọn iṣẹ́ ìjọba oríṣiríṣi.
nígbà tẹ́ di ẹni ẹ̀rí dókítà kan bẹ̀ ká bá ti pátán àwọn tí wọ́n máa ń yẹ̀wò náà nìyẹn.
Ok àwọn máa ń yẹ ẹran yẹn wò pé
wọ́n á yẹ̀wò pé sẹ́ran tó dáa nàbẹ́ran tí ò dáa wọ́n á yẹ̀wò wọ́n á tún yọ ẹ̀dọ̀ rẹ̀ wò tí yẹn kan bá mẹ́dọ̀ wọ́n á sì ṣe ẹ̀dọ̀ yẹn wọn ò ní jẹ́ káàtà fáwọn aráàlú nǹkan tí ò bá ti dá mẹ́ wọ́n á yọ kó iṣẹ́ tí wọ́n yẹn tí wọ́n wá ń ṣe ń bí báyìí.
So our interviewee actually confirmed that the veterinary technician comes to check the meat after the animals have been slaughtered too, before it is sold to consumers. And I mean, this is a very wonderful initiative by the state government. We have to commend them for that. Because the meat we consume also have to be checked. But I feel like a more comprehensive approach would be to start monitoring these animals from when they are being transported. And that's why data collection is very, very important. That's why we need to collect, we need to know where the animals are coming from. We need to know how the animals are being transported. We need to know what the slaughtering process is about before we finally get to checking if the meat is actually all right. So I feel like while the government has done a very good job in terms of providing a veterinary technician to come check the meat if it's safe for consumption, I feel like they need to have a wholesome approach. It starts from the producer of the cattle to the final consumer of the meat, that is from the cattle.
So kí làwọn bíi challenge bí nǹkan tó yẹ pé kò wà pàtó ní bíbá ìtẹ́ fípẹ́ ó yẹ kán lè bá yín wò ń bí o, ó yẹ káwọn kan lè bá yín tún ṣe ń bí ní abattoir yín o, àwọn kan tó yẹ pé òkè a tún nílò.
Ṣé rí àwọn nǹkan tá a nílò pọ̀ nǹkan láti ẹ̀fẹ̀ kí ìjọba ọdún sí káàdì ìjọba bá lè lágbára láti ṣe fà náà àdèsí ẹran ti wọ́n jù ti wọ̀ ó ti pọ̀ jù ọlọ́run wa láàánú ẹran táwọn bíi 500,000 tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ 1.2 million lára kò dẹ̀ pé àwọn èèyàn àìmọye àwọn ẹlẹ́ran gan ni wọ́n ti sá lọ.
Ó ti wọ́n jù.
Nígbà tó ti wọ́n jù nígbà tí yẹn bá ra nǹkan ní bóyá bíi 100,000 tí ò pa 80,000 bẹ́ẹ̀ kò sí ni àmọ́ àwọn èèyàn ẹ mọ̀ pé àwọn èèyàn wọn ò fẹ́ ṣe fáàmù mọ́ ní àsìkò tá a wà yìí everybody iṣẹ́ tí a sáré mówó wá tó wá jáde ń bẹ̀ làwọn èèyàn wá ẹ mọ̀ pé ó dẹ̀ ẹni tó bá dẹ̀ sin màálù á take in time torí kó tó bọ̀ kó tó dàgbà kó tó lóyún ẹ̀ẹ̀kan ló dẹ̀ máa ń bímọ lọ́dún kó tó wá bímọ ẹlòmíì ní ò jẹ́ kí àwọn èèyàn kí wọ́n kọbi ara sí owó dẹ̀ wà ń bẹ̀ tí àwọn èèyàn bá lè kọbi ara sí àmọ́ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wọn ò sábà kọbi ara sí torí táìmù tó ti máa ń pẹ́ jù wọ́n lè máa ṣe ẹ̀rọ mi láàrin ọdún márùn-ún tí ò ní ti bìrì ẹ̀fẹ́ ẹlòmíràn pé wọ́n á sí owó òun láàrin ọdún márùn-ún tí wọ́n ò ní profit kankan bẹ̀ ní nǹkan tó fà á nìyẹn àìláfaradà wa wọn ni ò jẹ́ ká ní ẹran tó pọ̀ ní bíbá ìbí ilẹ̀ Haúsá.
One of the issues facing most livestock farmers and cattle rearers in the southwest is the high cost of sourcing for these animals from the north, the east, from anywhere basically. The cost is very, very high. And this is because we don't necessarily produce cattle as such in the southwest. And that's why the government needs to take cattle production serious in the southwest. Local cattle breeding initiatives need to be done. I mean, they could also improve the breeds of the cattle that we have here. Probably maybe they can source for breeds outside the country, bring in modern cattle breeds. This will help improve, the productivity of farmers in the southwest. As a matter of fact, they also need to encourage animal welfare-centered production systems. And what I mean by that is that they should make sure that cattle being produced in the southwest follows proper animal welfare production systems. As a matter of fact, proper animal welfare breeds more productivity, leads to more productivity for the farmers, for the cattle, for the animals that they rear. So if the animals are very productive, it means more economic gains for farmers. It means the farmers are encouraged to actually rear cattle on their own in the southwest. They don't have to take that money to the north to source for these animals. I think that will go a long way in solving most of the problems that they face, in the southwest regarding costs, of sourcing for cattle from the north.
Àmọ́bìnrin lẹ́ẹ̀kan yẹn sọ̀rọ̀ nípa àwọn pé tá bá pẹran wọ́n á gé orí wọ́n á yọ nígbà tó bá ṣe ń wọlé gbọ̀ngàn sí ara àwọn bíi ìwo oríṣiríṣi àwọn bíi egungun oríṣiríṣi àwọn awọ ara ẹran yẹn táwọn tó ń ṣe lórí awọ àwọn lẹ́dà ṣán wá sí kí náà fi ń ṣe ṣán wá bí ṣán tẹ̀ ń wò.
wọ́n wà ibà àwọn aláwọ̀ ló máa ń rà àwọn tí wọ́n máa ń fi ṣe pọ̀nmọ́.
àwọn onípọ̀mọ́ ló máa ń wá ilé tí àwọn aláwọ̀ ṣe kí ń wá àwọn tó fi ṣe àbí òun náà fi ṣe bàtà sí
oríṣiríṣi wọn tá a bá rí wọn máa ta fún
wọn wà ní àbí
wà ní
wá ara
tí wọn bá wà máa ta fún wọn.
lórí pé àwọn gan mọ̀ pé irú àwọn kan báyìí wà ń bí ó dẹ̀ ń wéèsì lọ bẹ́ẹ̀.
wọ́n mọ̀nà nígbà tí bóyá ibi ilé ayé wọn ń bí wọ́n sàmọ̀ pé wọ́n ń pa màálù wọ́n dẹ̀ ń yọ awọ ara ẹ̀ kú.
so àwọn kan tí ẹ̀ kàn ní interest àwọn kan fẹ́ wá.
Animal welfare not only improves the productivity of the animals in terms of milk and meat quality, but it also improves the quality of the byproduct that you get from the animal. I mean, we're talking about the blood, the bones, the hides. Every single thing you get from the animal, every single byproduct is also improved by proper animal welfare. What we did notice in the abattoir that we went to was the fact that although blood, bones, and all other byproducts were being used, the hides of the animals were not really used. Only people that consume hides as homo came up to pick, the hides. And the question we should ask ourselves is that why are the leather processing people not coming to pick up the hides? And that leads to the fact that animals that are not properly cared for have poor hide quality. And so the government needs to take animal welfare seriously, in the fact that if you have proper animal welfare, it means that the byproducts, especially the hide from the animal, is also extremely okay. And then we see that if we invest in this, every single hide we get from every single animal can be used properly. Apart from pomo, we can also invest it in the leather industry. Nigeria, for example, do a lot of leather, and so why should the Southwest also, miss out on this opportunity? The government should take animal welfare serious, as it will help to improve the quality of the leather that we get from the animals that have been killed, being slaughtered for consumption, and it will provide even more job opportunities for youths, for other people, living, in the Southwest as well. People from the leather industry will have more, to produce, especially when they know that the quality of leather they are getting is really, really high quality. And how can we get that high quality? It's through proper animal welfare. Proper animal welfare not only improves the meat quality, but also the hide quality. And the government should invest in that as well.
So ṣé irúṣẹ́ tẹ̀lé fi lé ọmọ lọ́wọ́ ni?
Lẹ́ẹ̀kan mo sọ̀rọ̀ kan lẹ́ẹ̀kan, èèyàn lè fi lọ́mọ lọ́wọ́, àmọ́ kò ní sí báwa ṣe ń ṣe. Kò ní sí báwa ṣe ń ṣe. Ṣé n táwa ń ṣe lókà ni o? Àwọn ẹlòmíì wọ́n ń tẹ́ pé ẹ̀jẹ̀ electricity pé ẹran ni wọ́n ń tà. Lókà ni tiwa. Ọmọ lè ṣe dáadáa, àmọ́ a ní bí a ṣe ṣe, kò ní sí wílé táwa ń ṣe.
The reason why most youth are not interested in working in abattoirs as they ought to be can be traced to the fact that the abattoirs that we have in the Southwest, majority are not modernized. Youths of now want to work in clean environments. They want to work with machineries. They want to work with equipment that will make their work easier. They don't want to work and use the same crude systems that we used or that was used way back. So when you have machines like the herring machines, the evisceration machines, cooling equipment, it will help, to impress the youths, and then they will want to come to work in these abattoirs. They will see it as an opportunity for them instead of a big or a crude system of working. They will be impressed. They will be happy to come to work, in that sort of environment. So I would implore the state governments, the Southwest state governments, to take modernization of our abattoirs very seriously. This will help to impress the youth and bring more youth into the system. And of course, animal welfare will also be improved using modernized equipment. In a conversation with the veterinary technician that we met at the abattoir, he spoke about the structure of the abattoir and how he feels the structure needs to be improved. Specifically, he spoke about the lairage. The lairage is where the animals are being kept before they are slaughtered. The lairage that I saw at the abattoir was exposed. That means harsh weather conditions will surely affect the animals. Rain, sun, any other harsh weather condition will affect the animals just before they are slaughtered. Like I said earlier, extreme stress before animals are being slaughtered leads to poor meat quality. It will surely affect the quality of the meat. And this is why it's important that our government in the Southwest take modernizing our abattoirs very seriously. We do have a few modernized abattoirs in the Southwest, but we need this abattoirs in the Southwest. We need almost all, or if possible, all abattoirs to be modernized, not just a few here and there. We want every abattoir in the Southwest to be modernized. This will surely improve the quality of the meat we get from these abattoirs, improve the quality of life of the animals in these abattoirs, and even improve in terms of economic gain that we make from selling meat in these abattoirs.
In Lagos State, just one of the 6 states in southwest Nigeria, an estimated 3,000 cattle are slaughtered daily to meet the demand for beef. Yet, only about 5% of those animals are raised within the Southwest. This points to a significant missed opportunity for participation in the livestock value chain. The international market has a growing demand for quality meats, dairy, and leather products, and yet Southwest
participation in this high growth industry is minimal, and that's because we lack the systems and resources to compete. But by implementing the SWIFT framework recommended in our report, we can reposition the region as a hub for livestock productivity. Not only would this close the supply gap, it would also attract youth into agriculture, create jobs, and stimulate regional economic growth. Our goal should be that within the next 5 to 10 years, over half of the cattle consumed in the southwest should also be raised here, locally, sustainably, and profitably. And producing animals within the region allows us to monitor the entire value chain, ensuring proper animal welfare standards, food safety, and traceability from farm to the final consumer. It also shields us from the economic risk of relying on distant or unregulated suppliers, where sometimes pricing is volatile and the quality might be uncertain. Most importantly, prioritizing animal welfare improves the productivity and the quality of meat, milk, and leather, three key outputs of the livestock sector. And animals raised under proper welfare conditions will grow better, produce higher quality meat, and yield more milk, and they will even have healthier hides for premium grade leather. This will open our livestock products to international markets. In contrast, animals subjected to stress, malnutrition, or poor handling often suffer from disease, reduced fertility, lower yields, and damaged hides, leading to losses and lower economic returns. Focusing on animal welfare is not just a moral obligation, it is a smart economic strategy. The future of livestock production in the southwest lies in our ability to modernize, localize, and prioritize welfare across every node of the livestock value chain. We cannot afford to miss this opportunity, and the time to act for the southwest is now.